This is Eagle Al, and today I want to talk about a couple articles I read today on a slow news day. Shout out to Eagles Nation on Twitter, and also shout out to my guy Brandon Lee Galton, Jalen Carter. Is he going to be the story of camp? And also, is there still a hole at safety position? Well, let's get straight into it.
Hey, what's up? It's Mauro Jamel. Shout out to Eagle Owl, the biggest Eagles fan out there. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
All right. Slow news day, man. Slow news day. But of course, I try to give content every day. So I hear what the fans talking about. Fans are talking about free agency, D Hop, this and that. I gave my opinion on that yesterday. Definitely go check that video out. But I want to talk about what the media is talking about, what the beat writers talking about going into OTAs tomorrow. And one of the articles I read was about Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter being the story of camp. And this article goes into detail about Jalen Carter might be one of the biggest things coming from the first round and going into camp. So they compared it to like Devontae Smith. They compared it to like even like Deshaun Jackson. They went far back. And Jalen Carter, they put in some really good details, especially about Devontae Smith, because I remember being hyped about Devontae Smith, us getting another wide receiver out the draft. They said a lot of fans were hyped about Devontae Smith, but they were more worried about, please, he's just not another Jalen Rager. Please, he's not another bust, more than just being hyped about the player. See, Jalen Carter, we're really hyped about the player, but there are off the field issues. We like, hopefully this worked, because if this worked, he got the talent, but we don't usually have busts at defensive tackles and defensive ends. So it's just pure hype for Jalen Carter, and I totally agree. I think he probably the biggest thing since maybe Carson Wentz, maybe Carson Wentz, and then you can go back probably to like Donovan McNabb or something. But besides the quarterback position, I think he's probably the biggest thing in the first round coming into camp. Can't really say Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts had to build that reputation. But a guy like Jalen Carter, yes, there is a lot of hype around him. I even think you could throw Nolan Smith in there. There's a lot of hype around him too. But Jalen Carter will be watched. He will be watched for sure. Good, bad, ugly, great. He will be watched, and trust me, there will be a lot of reports about him. So OTAs, he will be the guy to watch. Now I want to go over this next article about the safety position. Eagles Nation, shout out to them. They said OTAs are underway, and the Eagles have a few holes remaining on the roster, with the biggest one being at the safety position. Now, this is an article I totally disagree with. Now, they made some key points. They said Terrell Edmonds is really the only full-time starter, or has been a full-time starter, that's at the safety position. Reed Blankenship was not a full-time starter. Sidney Brown was a rookie. Kayvon Wallace never started as a full-time starter. So, but I disagree. If you want to say the biggest, I would say the linebacker position. N'Kobe Dean never started a full-time game because the linebackers ahead of him was good. T.J. Edwards was really good. Kaiser White, he get a lot of flack, but he was really good during the whole season. We seen flashes of N'Kobe Dean. Nicholas Morrow, Chicago, he was good, but it's like he wasn't that all-star player. That's the same thing you could say about the safety position, but at least the safety position, they have Slade and Bradbury. You could say the linebacker position have a powerful defensive line, sure, but we seen average linebackers without powerful defensive line and still look bad. Like, think of Nate Gary. We had mid-tier safeties, but our corners were so good that made the safeties look good. Like, we had the Anthony Harris towards the tail end of his career, and we had like the Jalen Mills that looked pretty decent because the outside corners were okay. So yeah, man, if I'm worried about one of the biggest holes on our team, it's definitely linebacker. And like even this article said, you still had Terrell Edmonds, who was a solid linebacker, who was safety at one point. We really don't know. I love Nakobe Dean. Hell, I might buy a Nakobe Dean jersey, but we just don't know. I honestly think you should knock on Baltimore doors, see what they doing with Patrick Queen, see what Isaiah Simmons doing, see what a linebacker I'm not even thinking about doing. So I totally disagree with this. It is there a hole at the safety position? Maybe you get a star, but linebacker position after Nicholas Morrow and the Kobe Dean, who else it is? Sean Bradley coming off an injury. I can't even think of our linebacker's name after those three. Shoot, I'm blanking out like crazy. That's how needy we are for a linebacker position. Now safety, I can name who's there: Reed Blankenship, Terrell Edmonds, Sidney Brown, Kayvon Wallace. But linebacker position, it's like after those, people probably forget about Sean Bradley. But after those, it's like, who are the guys? We got some undrafted guys. Got to bring in a star for the linebacker position. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about these articles, man? Is there really a hole still at the safety position? Jalen Carter, do you believe he the biggest thing coming into camp since Carson Wentz? But this is Eagle Al, man.